Welcome back to another episode of Weiss Advice, going live during the 10-day CRE LinkedIn Challenge. I'm your host, as always, Yonah Weiss. Great to be back today with some amazing guests. We got a lot of people from the 10-day challenge. I want to bring up our first guest for today and let them introduce themselves one by one. Unfortunately, we had someone had to cancel last minute due to a flight delay. But we still got some great guests for you today. And if you are watching this and are part of the LinkedIn challenge or not, let us know in the comments. There is about a 20-second delay, so we won't see your comment right away. But I do want to know who is watching this, where you're coming from. Give us some love. Give some love to the guests that are coming up here. There we go. Levi is getting it on, and Dan is commenting from YouTube. He is from the internet, and he's saying hello. And by the way, that's the same guy. What's going on?
Or am I? Exactly. Some people say I'm part human. I think that's fair enough. But yeah, I'm definitely from the internet. It's great to be here today, Yonah. It's always exciting to do these challenges.
I'm grateful to have you back and back on the live stream. This is Dan Fradenburgh. We got him live from Canada. Even looks like he's in Taiwan. He's not. That's just a cool green screen, but it's not. It's like
Yeah. It's actually a photo. It's a physical photo. It's I took it out of my last living room out in Taiwan, and it was important to me not to be deceptive in any way for years and years and years. But then once enough people knew me, I'm like, you know what? I can break out the background, and then if somebody wants to do a Google reverse image search to find out where I'm physically located, well, I hope their Mandarin's pretty good.
There you go. Well, we figured it out. Maybe I got a hint or two, but good to have you on the show. Why don't you tell us, besides for some random facts, what is it that you actually do?
Sure. So the biggest thing that I've been helping people with recently, it's building credibility in real estate from scratch. So ultimately, I got into real estate from the CRM space, building online funnels, mass marketing to literally millions of people and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of transactions. But the main thing is when you get into real estate, you need to get to know a whole bunch of people. They need to know who you are. And I help with that. And the proof is in the pudding. I've built a reputation, even though I've been kind of on the periphery of a lot of real estate deals, but I also managed to do some GPing and multifamily. So it's eclectic for sure, but it makes sense once we shake hands and start talking.
Awesome. Well, it definitely makes sense. I appreciate you coming back on the live, and we'll bring you back up in a minute. Let's bring our next guest. We got Jeff McCarley. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I live out here in Arizona. I've been a first responder for about 14 years. A couple years back, I started in single family real estate. Now I'm working my way into the multifamily apartments and of real estate. So focusing on that and just trying to help people along the way as I go.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your service. I appreciate someone like you, being there. First responder is still doing that full time, or have you transitioned to real estate?
Yeah, I actually have a pretty sweet job. I do a lot of air rescue stuff. So we fly around the state of Arizona doing search and rescue, a lot of hoist evacs and pulling people out of canyons, or heat exhaustion is a big one out here in Arizona, as you could imagine. So we do a lot of that stuff. We fly to all the hospitals, and we get to help people in a different way. So it's been great. And so I do that full time. And then I start and I'm doing the real estate also full time. So it can be pretty hectic at times, but it's worth it.
Good for you. It's a way to live the dream. So I appreciate you joining us on the LinkedIn Live. We'll bring you back up in a minute after we meet our next guest for the day. Let's bring up Tom. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Tom Kirkpatrick. I'm in East Tennessee. Got into multifamily in 2016. General partner on several deals. Left my W-2 in 2023 with the idea that I was going to continue to do deals on a regular basis, and really haven't done one since, but underwritten hundreds. Sort of shifted my focus now. Had a little trouble raising capital for a deal last year. So this year is all about up in my capital raising game. So I'm switching this year to a fund of funds model and raising for excellent operators in excellent markets with excellent deals.
Very cool. Sounds good. It's a great space to be in. And even though it's been a little rough the past year or two for various reasons, I think things are about to change. We are always optimistic. And you know what? A deal can always be found if you're looking in the right places and looking with the right set of goggles. So without further ado, let's bring up our other guests that we had previously met. We got Tom, Jeff, and Dan on the show. My name's Yonah. We're going to jump right into it, guys. I would love for anyone who is watching this live, let us know in the comments if you have any questions, but we're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn today. Surprise, surprise. That's what we've been doing. Now, Dan, you are a veteran of this 10-day challenge. I think you've done it probably more times than almost anyone else. Been with me for, almost the beginning, and you keep coming back. What is it all about? Tell me right now.
So I guess I'll be a little bit on the negative side with a little bit of candy coating on it, which is that I'm making up for lost time. So when I first started doing these challenges, I went from being a digital recluse, in other words, hypersensitive about my privacy. I don't want anybody to know anything about me unless, I've already, got an idea. Okay, yeah, sure, you seem all right. Here are the details, right? And so networking, when I became a parent and I got really focused on that, I let networking kind of fall to the wayside. And so even though I had a successful career, my next gig and the gig after that, it was a lot shakier than it would have been if I had kept up on the networking. And so when it comes to something like LinkedIn, your personal branding, your business, it doesn't matter what you're up to. Letting the networking piece of the puzzle fall by the wayside, you can only do that at your own peril. And I'm definitely proof of that. But the fact is, you need to find more people in the space. You got to find out who has overlap with your business, who can you work with. I've known Tom for a couple of years too, and he's a prime example of the type of person where I don't know if everybody in the audience knows this or not, but I'm from the internet. And so that's why I need boots on the ground like Tom, who's an actual deal finder, getting them under contract and all that kind of stuff. And then I can be add fuel to the fire as an internet person who's connected all across the country. So that's the story for me and why I keep doing them.
And to be fair, you're in Canada, so you got that going for you.
Yeah, exactly. Ottawa, Canada is the wrong answer for any question. And so that's why it's like, yes, I'm from the internet. That's where you know me from. Is the
much
internet.
Easier to, exactly. Much easier to get away with that. But no, it makes a lot of sense. And the truth of the matter is, networking and real estate kind of go hand in hand. And when you have the opportunity to do it full scale and do it on a daily basis, you don't have to travel to events in order to maximize your networking. I think leveraging LinkedIn is the most powerful platform, which is really the main reason why I started this 10-day challenge, is to teach people and give them the opportunity to really tap in to the biggest, networking platform out there, and the way to really scale your business, your personal growth, so many things. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that aspect of it, Dan, because it's so true. And I've seen it time and time again. So thanks for coming back. Jeff, what about you? You, I believe this is your first 10-day challenge. Am I correct?
No, this is actually my second.
Okay.
My first one was just a few months ago when he ran it last time. And it was great because I too am new to the whole social networking thing. Not a lot of followers, not a lot of posts, anything like that. So trying to play catch up kind of like Dan. And I've learned over the time, it's not who I know, it's who knows you, right? Your network. Like when those things come available, those deals that Tom comes up with or anyone else, like being able to be top of mind is where it's at. And it's not easy. It's a learning curve for sure. So I've been grateful for the first one, which I was pretty lackluster and by my own fault. And so this one I've really focused on posting and commenting and reacting, and I've had a few posts qualify this time, which was great for me, which last time I didn't get any. So it's been an awesome experience for me, and just following new people, meeting new people, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're able to kind of scale it up. And I think that's the way most people find it. The first time, especially when you don't have a lot of experience, it may seem a little overwhelming. It may seem like you're really just kind of learning the ropes. The second time you get at it, like you said, you're qualifying, you're getting the reactions, you're getting the responses, you're building that community. And that's really what it's all about. So the metrics are kind of secondary. I put it out there as like at the forefront. You have to qualify, you have to get this. But the truth of the matter is, like they say, when you shoot for the stars, you hit the moon, something like that. When you try to do like something that seems way beyond possible, you end up getting so much along the way. So that's part of it. Don't be discouraged ever. I say this to everyone out there who's watching, who's listening, because if it's something new to you, you're like, I'm not really getting what I thought I would get out of it. Switch the focus and you'll see that you're actually getting a lot more than you bargained for.
Right. And the content of what you post too, I found is very important, right? Like you can't just put generic posts out there and expect people to react to, you want something engaged, you want maybe a true story or, something personal to you and your brand. So just learning all that. And yeah, like you said, even though some of my posts don't qualify, I'm getting a lot more impressions that I've ever had. Mm-hmm. So it's been, maybe I am reaching an audience that I'm not normally connecting with. So it's been nothing but good for me. So I greatly appreciate it. Again, it's awesome.
100%. Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for your perspective on that. And Tom was motioning, this is actually his first time joining the 10-day LinkedIn challenge. What's your, what kind of pushed you to join this in the first place? And then what's kind of been your experience thus far over the first week?
I've known about your challenges for years, and I'm not exactly, so I connected with you years ago, but it was always like, I was always waiting to get my background landing page or something up, or whatever I was working on at that time was justification for not doing it. So I've really turned my focus. LinkedIn became a priority. I just recently finished like a training module on LinkedIn. And then this came up and it was like, perfect. I'm just going to, I had other things I had planned for these weeks, but literally last week and probably, this week I got a friend coming to town, so I don't have a whole lot of time. So most all of my time that isn't asset management or scheduled meetings has been on this LinkedIn challenge. So I really dove in. My first 4 posts did qualify. I've got enough experience. It's just really having the confidence to, figure out what might be interesting to people. So last week, because I figured people in the challenge are more real estate people, I wasn't really reaching out to my avatar. I was more reaching out to other, syndicators or real estate space people. Got 4 qualified posts Friday and Saturday. Friday, I posted late in the day. Saturday, I posted. Neither one of those posts had qualified to date, but we'll see. So, I don't know if I answered your question, but,
so
it's
for sure.
pushing myself out of my comfort zone. That's what it is. That's what about being an entrepreneur, which is new to me. It's a mindset shift, and it's just one day after the next, pushing myself out of my comfort zone. The corporate job, it was very comfortable as time went on,
Yeah. And the truth is, you've shown, right, the fact that you kind of jumped in, you've seen what it's about, and that kind of pushed you to join. But have no fear, just put it out there, and and thankfully you're able to get some reactions, get some responses to that. But I really appreciate kind of the perspective. This was something we spoke about on the live a few days ago, which is you got to figure out who is your avatar, who it is that you're actually want to be connecting with. And funnily enough, Adam Gower on his presentation last week on Tuesday, if anyone didn't check that out, go back to my profile and check out that recording, because extremely powerful and showing how using your comments is really the best way to target your avatar. And by doing so, what I mean by that, your comments, like find the people that you want to see you and go and comment on things that they are either seeing, right, they're also commenting on, or that they're posting themselves. And therefore, by you commenting on that, they will see you on that comment, and it will also cause the algorithm to show your posts to them. And so the best way, like I said, to be able to target your avatar is not necessarily in posting your own original content. And that's something we didn't, it's not the premise of this challenge per se. It's something we learn along the way, something that we can take from this, but extremely powerful strategy in doing it that way. And I saw Dan shaking his head. He's obviously had some experience with that. Tell me a little bit more about how that's kind of shaped the way that you engage on the platform.
So before I got into personal branding, as I mentioned, I already was analyzing all the data. I already saw what a big functioning company does. In other words, when they're 7 figures in revenue and beyond. And so what I've done is I've torture tested the algorithm in every conceivable way, like every way that has popped into my head. I've tried it. So I've done things like posting stuff where I know the algorithm might like it, but people should absolutely hate it. One example would be I posted a little sample of code, which I knew that less than 1% of my audience would actually be able to read, just to see what happens. And now I don't like to be a negative Nancy or negative whatever name you want to have, but last week was kind of funny because I noticed my impressions as a whole were kind of whole hum. I found that generally on these challenges, if you do post on a regular basis, you might see a little bit of a dip, but I think that the impressions are better people, and I don't mean that in terms of some people are bad and some people aren't. I mean that they're more applicable, they're more involved in what you're involved in. And so I was griping a little bit last week, saying like, okay, here I am, I'm giving this stuff, providing value, all of this kind of stuff, and I know the difference because I've been doing this stuff for a while, and I know it sounds ultra arrogant, but just to make a point, last week I posted up a meme, and so to give you some hard numbers, I was just blasting through my posts during the challenge here, and on the upper side, it was only about like 400 impressions would be one of the better ones. And then I ended up posting a meme here. It's a map of US states where it's illegal to pump your own gas. There's only one where it's illegal to pump your own gas, and right out of nowhere it got 12,000 impressions. So it's like, it was just to make the point. It's like, okay, this is the kind of fluff that LinkedIn seems to be like really pushing. Whereas the stuff where, if people are saying, hey, what's holding my business back? Well, one of the biggest ones is probably that you're not investing in it. You're being too much of a tightwad, and you need to, find some more help, find somebody else to take it to the next level, get some assistance, and then, you're actually going to be somewhere. But, that's not necessarily what LinkedIn wants to show you.
Yeah, exactly. And, playing with the algorithm and catering to the algorithm has its benefits. You want to kind of juice that a little bit from time to time, just so that you can get some more eyeballs on you. I wouldn't do it as a strategy all the time. In fact, I'm usually against it personally, just because I want to always be posting the most value and things like that. But I definitely see the strategy in doing so.
Right, it's a front of funnel thing, and right. The fact is, you have to understand. I was griping earlier last week about how like some marketers, they say, "Oh, I don't like funnels." I think that's a ridiculous thing to say, because even our physical presence on this call is absolutely part of a funnel. Okay, the idea is we're showing our ideas, we're showing our knowledge, and anybody who is lacking what we're offering, it's going to make them inclined to connect with us on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'd like to get on your calendar and talk a little bit on how we can collaborate or something like that. So as a front of funnel, it makes absolute sense to chase that virality, trying to go viral with one of your posts. But I think you have to play the long game whenever you're in personal branding, which is that if you don't have something to offer, then you kind of have no business trying to make an enormous channel anyway. I see a lot of influencers like PewDiePie, for example, Mr. Beast, all that kind of stuff, where they were focusing on becoming famous, but they didn't really have something to sell other than just trying to gain the attention. And so if you have that baked in, then I think that trying to go viral actually makes sense.
Huge difference in mindset shift. And you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't start from that perspective, but certainly it can be picked up along the way, and you can shift. Also, you can transition and you can pivot, and that's really the beauty of business in general. someone's working, if you grow an audience and they're a great following, you can pivot into something else. And just to use your example of Mr. Beast, like the fact that he, just a great example, the biggest YouTuber in the world, and has pivoted into actually making brick and mortar and businesses, and built a chocolate company and a fast food chain. It's like crazy when you think about it, but when you have a following, you can really basically do almost anything. And so it's a big responsibility, but at the same time, there's a huge amount of opportunity there that is totally left untouched if you are just focusing on creating the content and not focusing on, like you said, the funnel aspect of it, which I appreciate your perspective coming from that world and then bringing it into real estate and seeing how we can translate it into our lives. Jeff, I'm curious to hear from you. You've working full time as a first responder and doing the real estate thing. Like, how do you even have time to spend time on social media?
Well, fortunately, my W-2, we work 24-hour shifts. So I work one day on, I get so many days off. And it's a reactive position, just being in the helicopter and stuff like that and waiting for the calls to come in. So we have, between trainings and other work, we have opportunities to, we get a little downtime here and there. So we're able to hop on those days. And really the days I work, my W-2, I'm a little bit less active on the social media platforms, but my days off, I'm able to kind of focus and dive in and learn what I need to learn and, continue learning what I need to learn. So you don't know what you don't know until, the question's posed. So.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, I mean, that's makes a lot of sense, but do you use and I'm curious because I've had different responses from people on this, in terms of the actual time you're spending on LinkedIn. Do you have it scheduled out? Do you have your posts pre-scheduled? Do you have, time that you're committing every day to be engaging or whatnot? Is it just kind of free for all?
No, I will usually schedule my posts out in advance to help with that aspect of it. And then usually I'm a morning person, so I like to wake up early, get a little workout in, and then focus on my posts. And I'll do that in the morning. Usually around lunch, I'll make it a priority to hop on for 15, 20 minutes. And then towards the end of the day, as everything's winding down, I'll finish up my comments, like anything on my posts and reactions. And if reach out to other people and post on there as well, because it is a lot of time. And if you don't make it a priority, it's very easy to push it off, and I think this challenge is great for accountability and be like, no, I need to do this and hold up to my end of the bargain. So it's been great for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, accountability is one side of it, but also the, for most people using social media, it's just like an endless, pit, basically. What did Adam Gower called the infinite scroll, right? You just go to your home feed and just start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling without any purpose, really.
Right.
And when you focus on, okay, I have intention, I have, something to post, I have people that I want to engage with specifically, whether it be because they're part of your challenge, whether it be because they're a list that you want to target your avatars, etc. Those are all, the same, but that's something to really focus on. And I think one of the benefits of doing this challenge.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful when you have intention. If you just go in there blind, like you can get lost pretty quick, and stuck in that doom scroll or the infinite scroll. And next thing you know, 45 minutes has passed and you're like, oh, where'd my life go? So I think we've all been there at a time or two. So having that focus is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, I'd love to hear your perspective on that. I see you bobbing your head, shaking your head there. I know this is something we all can relate to in different ways. So love to hear your perspective on that as well.
Yeah, it's real easy. You get a reason to link out to YouTube, it's for a business reason, right? From something you're following. And then all of a sudden I'm like watching golf videos, how it goes. But as far as the intentionality, this has helped me. My plan going forward is to schedule time. I've heard for years, LinkedIn is the best platform for my avatar, for what we do. And, I wasn't taking advantage of it. And times change. Next year, it may not be. It's here now. You got to take advantage of it now, and things may change. So my plan going forward is, Monday morning, sit down, kind of come up with a pillar theme for the week, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, and kind of then build off of a kind of a main theme. That's my plan going forward. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's important to develop a plan, whatever that plan being. But we don't want to get stuck on just using social media for the sake of time wasting and for the sake of just an outlet. We want to use it intentionally, and we want to use it to help grow our business, grow our network, which ultimately has infinite opportunities. I mean, endless opportunities. I think everyone who's participated in this challenge and everyone who has been in my inner circle for the years has can share specific examples of people they've met who have literally helped, change their lives in one form or another, whether it be a deal that they've done, whether it be a partnership that went sour, who knows what, but it happens. And you know what? It's all part of that growth and part of building that network. So I appreciate you guys joining me today to kind of share your perspectives. I know this is kind of quick. It's just put some things out there. I think we're all learning from each other here. And I do want to give everyone an opportunity before we close it out to just share anything that's on your mind, whether you have something to plug, whether you have something you just want to get off your chest. Keep it PG. That's all I ask. But we'll start with Tom.
Thanks for putting this out there. I mean, for me, it's been good. It is a lot of work. And but it's like anything new that you get into and focus on is going to be a lot of work. So my goal is to get over the hump on that and get into some sort of rhythm. And, thank you for helping me do that.
Pleasure. Appreciate you putting yourself out there and joining the group and coming on the live as well. Anyone out there who's watching as part of this challenge who hasn't joined one of these lives, I think you do have 1 or 2 spots left. We actually had a little more space in today's, but we had a cancellation last minute due to a flight delay. So reach out to me if you do want to join. I think, like I said, I may have 1 or 2 spots to squeeze in over the next few days. Jeff, why don't you close it out for us? Tell us any final thoughts, anything you want to share whatsoever.
I'd say, like Tom, thank you very much for putting this on. Thanks for having me on LinkedIn Live. It's definitely been a game changer. I'm happy to connect with people if they're interested. Just tell stories or see if we have anything in common, maybe do a deal together in the future. So again, just grateful to be here and thank you for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you. Love that you guys put yourself out there and joined us. And Dan, last but not least, why don't you tell us what's on your mind?
Sweet. Yeah, there are a few things. One, especially that since how Tom opened that door originally, I think that some people are out there, they don't understand that making LinkedIn really work, it requires far more hours per day than you think it will. And so there are some people in some situations that they're not going to be able to do it themselves. So collaboration is definitely the name of the game. It's just like as you get into commercial real estate, if you don't have access to capital, you're going to have to find somebody who does. So find that teammate. I'd love to have more people reach out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do business with each other, because after all, I'm a podcaster. So the things I want to say before I let everybody go, if you want some free education that I put out there, realestateisaScam.com is a good place to check out. That was basically based off the idea that I knew that smart people who are very attentive, eyes wide open, they still end up finding themselves in a lot of trouble for highly predictable reasons. And so I decided to, rather than sweep those reasons under the rug, I made videos about them and included what full-timers do to make sure that they don't fall trap to those exact problems. But please do connect on LinkedIn. You might want to join me on dandoesdeals.com, one of the chance encounters where I talk about your buy box and why you're in this. That's a great one. But if you play chess, then Chess with Investors is definitely my favorite show of the bunch. Yonah is kind enough to appear on that. We'll have to get a rematch session or something a little bit creative for that, but we just talk we talk real estate or investment over a game of chess, and that would be great to have you on there.
Or theology, as in our encounter.
Yep, true enough. True enough. It's whatever's on your mind. It's. I really wanted people to have an opportunity to color in between the lines and show their humanity. And I find a lot of podcasts, they end up seeming really canned, and so it, just too scripted. And you really get the humanity when somebody is kleptoing all your pieces and you're trying to concentrate and not.
Yeah, very difficult to concentrate when that's going on. But I appreciate all of you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. You guys have been awesome. Thanks to everyone who's watching this live or you're watching the replay. We will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. And until next time, remember, the best advice comes only when you ask. We'll see you guys next time.